Hey, what is up guys, it's Rob. Hope you're doing really good out there. So I think as a guitar player, it's extremely important to have influences. I was kind of talking about this last week in my video when I was explaining that one of the hardest things about being a guitar teacher, something I'm noticing quite a lot with especially the younger generation, is that they don't know what they want to learn on the guitar. They don't have any favorite bands or artists or favorite guitar players. I even had a student yesterday who I was teaching and I said, have you even heard of any guitar players? Can you even name me any guitar players? And he genuinely couldn't. I mean, actually, yeah, he could. He said Ed Sheeran. Fair enough. Ed Sheeran is quite a popular guy in the mainstream media, so I don't blame him for knowing Ed Sheeran. But other than that, like any famous, I'm talking like your Jimi Hendrixes, your Eric Claptons, things like that, he couldn't name me any famous guitar players, which I thought was a little bit sad. So yeah, influences. I think they're a huge part in what shape us to become the guitar players that we are. So that just got me thinking, who is my main influence on the guitar? I don't think it's any secret by this point. My main influence and my main favourite guitar player is and always will be Angus Young from acdc. I've made a lot of acdc themed videos on this channel, probably going to make many more as well because I just love acdc and I've always loved Angus Young and his playing style. So when I first started out on the guitar, listening to acdc and trying to copy not only their riffs but Angus Young's playing style in terms of his lead stuff was a huge thing for me, and it really did shape me to become the guitar player that I am now. Even in my playing now, like 15, 16, well actually more like 18, call it 20 years later, I still play a lot of Angus style things, and it just really did shape the way that I play the guitar. And I'm not even ashamed to admit that Angus is a huge part of the reason why I wanted to get myself a Gibson SG guitar. I always used to say when I was younger that one day I will get myself a Gibson SG so I can be a bit more like Angus. Now I've got one. So yeah, huge influence on me. So today I just thought I'd explore that a little bit more and talk about why I think Angus Young is one of the best guitar players, at least in my opinion. It's all subjective, but yeah, let's get right into it. So the first thing I noticed about Angus Young, it wasn't even the sound or the songs or anything like that, it was purely the visuals. I remember when I was a kid, one time I just went in the living room and my dad was sat watching acdc live. I think it was their Stiff Upper Lip live in Munich DVD, or video back then, I don't even know when this was, but it was quite a while ago. And I just started watching it with him. I didn't know any of the songs, I didn't know who they were, didn't know anything about them, and I was just watching it and I was just mesmerised by the guitar player because he was just constantly up and down the stage. He wasn't stopping. He had his duck walk, that very, very cool signature move that he does, which he kind of got from Chuck Berry, which I'll talk more about later, but he had that, and it was just his energy on the stage, and I was just like, who is that? Who is that guy? Like that is amazing. And then, you know, you focus on the guitar playing, really good guitar playing as well, but yeah, more the energy and more the performance. That's the first thing that I really like about Angus Young, is that it's all about the performance with him as well. I don't think Angus Young really cares if he messes up a note or if he plays something slightly wrong, but if he's putting all of his effort and his energy into his live performance, I think that's what he goes for. Because if he's putting all of his effort and energy into his performance, the crowd are going to respond to that. They're going to give their energy back, and it's just going to be this sort of big continuous sort of thing. I know from playing in my own experience that when the crowd are enjoying what you're doing, you enjoy what you're doing on stage even more and you put more effort back into it. And I can definitely see that when you watch acdc live, and Angus, he's putting absolutely everything he's got into every single performance. I don't think I've ever seen a video of Angus where he looks bored on stage or where he looks like he's not having a good time or putting energy into what he's doing. He's just constantly giving it 100% every single time. So that's the first thing that I noticed, and it is one of the things that I've always loved the most, and I take that sort of thought process on board with me now, and I try not to care so much, especially in a live context, if I'm playing, how perfect I play. If I'm on stage, if I'm having fun, if I'm moving about, then that's all that matters to me, and I'm sure the audience would rather see someone on stage having a great time, performing and giving it everything they've got, than someone who's just stood there in one spot, just trying to get everything absolutely perfect. 9 times out of 10, if I make a mistake on stage, the audience, they don't even know. They're too busy having fun themselves, and I'm too busy on stage having fun myself, so that's what I've always taken on board from Angus, and it's one of the main things I like about him. The second reason why I've always really liked Angus, 2 words, or is it 1 word? Trademark. I don't think there's a single guitar player out there, correct me if I'm wrong, leave me a comment if you disagree, who has got more trademarks than Angus. Everything from his Gibson SG, never changed the guitar that I used all the way through his career. Obviously he had different Gibson SGs, didn't just use the same guitar, but the same make and model is what I'm getting at. He always has a Gibson SG. So that's kind of become a bit of a trademark, and a lot of people, myself included, you associate, as soon as you see a Gibson SG, you think Angus Young. I do, and a lot of other people do as well. And you know, how many times do people pick up a Gibson SG in a guitar shop and the first thing they want to play is Back in Black or Thunderstruck, something like that. So yeah, the Gibson SG. Then there's the school outfit, another really iconic thing. You know, he just started doing that. I think the story is he used to come home from school and he wouldn't even get changed. He'd just keep his school uniform on and practice his guitar, and then his sister said, you should keep doing that on stage. That would be a nice little gimmick sort of thing. And then 50 years later, he's still on stage, still wearing the school uniform, still rocking it out. And I think that's a really, really cool thing. What a good way to stick in people's minds as well. You know, you're the lead guitar player of a band, but not only are you playing really good, you're rushing about the stage, but you're wearing a school uniform. It's just a talking point. It just definitely makes people think, who is that guy and what's all that about? It adds intrigue to things, so I've always loved that. And then you've got other things like the duck walk, which I know, like I said earlier, he was influenced by Chuck Berry and kind of got that thing from Chuck Berry. I don't know if Chuck Berry stole that from anybody. I say stole. It's not a copyrighted thing, is it? But you know what I mean. But yeah, Angus, let's just say he borrowed it from Chuck Berry and got his influence from there. But he's definitely kind of put his own claim on that duck walk by now, because it's part of his live performance, and he probably does it in every single song live on stage. So yeah, the duck walk. And then even down to some of his trademark licks on the guitar. Things that you just hear and you know for a fact that's an Angus lick. That's what Angus plays, or the way that it's played or something like that. You put all these things together and you've got a really, really cool package, a really cool guitar player with so much going on, so much interest and so much intrigue. And that's what I've always liked about him. Another thing that really caught my attention when I very first saw them, like I said, I wasn't really listening to the music. I was just like, who is the guitar player? Why is he wearing a school uniform? And then, you know, you think about the guitars that he's got over the years. Why does he always use that guitar? Turns out he likes that guitar because the Les Paul was too heavy, Fenders didn't have the right sound, and he likes the Gibson SG. You know, because he said that they got the double cutaway there. It kind of reminds him of devil horns, you know, which is a funny little thing, I guess. But that's why he uses those guitars. And another reason, this is kind of a little bonus reason why I like Angus, and we'll get onto this more in a minute, is that he is basically the embodiment of the mantra, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When you find something you like that, that's your thing, it doesn't need to change. So yeah, that's another huge reason why I like Angus. And on the subject of guitars, I've actually been trying to think recently, whilst I've been thinking about this video, if there's any other guitar player in a big famous band where the guitar player only used one make and model of guitar their entire career. And I've been struggling, so please let me know in the comments below if you can think of a guitar player that used the same make and model of guitar. Obviously they might have used different models of that guitar over the year, but I'm talking like Gibson SG, something like that in Angus's case. I mean, guitar players that spring to mind is like Slash. Slash predominantly uses Gibson Les Pauls, but that's not all he uses. He's used other guitars in the past. Or you even think of Jimi Hendrix with his Fender Strat, but he also had a Gibson SG and he used that, and probably some other guitars as well. Eric Clapton with his Fender Strat, but he's used a 335. So it is really quite hard to think of really famous guitar players who've only just used one guitar their entire time. So that's another little reason to me anyway why Angus, I just feel like he's got that little bit of an edge over other guitar players. Like I said, if you can think of any, leave me a comment, let me know. It'd be cool to find out. Finally, let's get on to talking about the most important thing, which is obviously his guitar playing. Yes, he looks cool, he's got the school uniform, he's got the Gibson SG and all that sort of stuff. Also, I didn't even talk about the amps, but he likes Marshall amps and he doesn't use any pedals or anything like that. It's literally just a guitar straight into the amp, there's his sound, and that's what he's always used. And the thing I've always really liked about his guitar playing is that it has always seemed really accessible for any guitar player to do, basically. It doesn't seem too intimidating when you very first hear it. Obviously, when you're not a guitar player, it sounds pretty difficult what he's doing. And I'm not saying it's easy, but there is some guitar players you could hear. You could hear some Yngwie Malmsteen or some Steve Vai or some Joe Satriani or Guthrie Govan or some of these guitar players, and straight away it sounds so complicated and so complex that it might actually feel quite far away from your ability, which might actually put you off actually wanting to get there. Maybe, that's what I'm saying. Whereas Angus, a lot of the time, he's actually playing some more very relaxed sort of stuff. He doesn't usually always go for the really fast, shreddy sort of stuff. He goes for the more rhythmic lead guitar playing, nice and cool licks which really just fit the vibe of the song. That's what he's going for. He's going to try and find something that works with the music. Even as a beginner guitar player, getting involved in some lead playing, it seemed like it might not be too far, too out of reach to get to that level and play some of those licks. And I think that's true. So that's another reason why I really like his playing style. He doesn't overdo it. Yes, he can go through little patches of trying to play something really fast and a little bit flashy. Whereas with Angus, it's more gimmicky and it's more just something cool to try and throw in either a song, or if he's doing a live solo and the audience want to respond to it. You know, again, like I said, he feeds off the audience. So if they're going crazy, he might do something crazy on the guitar to match it, which I think is really, really cool. And like I said earlier, he's got all these signature licks that when you hear them, you just know that it's Angus, just from the way that they sound, the way that they're put together. One big thing which is pretty much a giveaway when you hear some guitar playing and you're not sure if it's Angus or not, I'm talking more about the lead guitar, is that Angus likes to pick a lot of stuff. He really picks heavy on the strings. He uses a heavy plectrum, Fender extra heavy, which is what the Premier Guitar Angus Young rig rundown said, Fender extra heavy. So he uses really, really thick plectrums and he really digs in the strings. You can really hear that pick attack on the strings when he's playing live. He doesn't do an awful lot of legato playing. Like I said, he just likes to pick most of the notes and get around the fretboard that way. So that's a really good indication of Angus Young's guitar playing. And again, it's something you could emulate. You could try and put that in your playing. If you want to sound like Angus Young and you know some licks and stuff like that, try and pick more of the notes and try and be really quite aggressive. I don't mean literally pick the string so hard it breaks. I just mean, you know, put a bit of emphasis into what you're doing and add on that some nice sort of quick vibrato, which is something that Angus Young is quite known for as well. He's got a very unique and very, very accurate and precise vibrato. His vibrato doesn't sound too wild and it doesn't sound really off. It always fits the song and he's got such a good touch on the guitar. Really nice and controlled. So those are a couple reasons why his playing for me has always been just something that I've always resonated with and really enjoyed. And my last reason is basically the same as the first reason, but it's just something I forgot to mention earlier, which is I love the whole crowd participation thing that he does, where he will play something on the guitar and the crowd respond, and it's almost like this call and response thing, almost like a conversation, which I've always loved. It reminds me quite a lot of the Freddie Mercury, where he would sing something and get the crowd to then sing the same thing back to him. The thing with Angus, he's doing all this with his guitar. He doesn't say anything to the audience. He doesn't say, right, when I play this, I want you to scream. He doesn't say that. He just plays something and the audience respond. And then he'll play something else and he'll do all this sort of stuff. He'll kind of put his hand to his ear as if to say, go on then, make some noise. And they do. And that is a really, really cool thing. I don't think there's a single guitar player, and again, I'm pretty biased because I like Angus, but I don't think there's a single guitar player that I have seen where they have got every single one of the audience in the absolute palm of their hand and they can control them and get them screaming and get them really, really involved in a show. No one like Angus. You see, like on the River Plate DVD, where he's playing like that and there's absolutely massive crowd. They're all pinned and all focused just on him whilst he's playing this solo, and it's just absolutely amazing to watch. And I don't think that really happens with any other guitar player. I could be wrong, like I said, I'm biased again. Leave me a comment if you think there's somebody else who has that equal sort of attention draw, but for me it's Angus. So that's my final reason, and that is a glimpse into my mindset on why I like Angus Young so much and how he has influenced my guitar playing so much over the years and still will. Even though he doesn't really change much and he hasn't really done anything new over the years, obviously other than coming up with new songs, it doesn't matter because it still sounds good after all this time. Like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm gonna always like Angus and acdc's guitar playing. But anyway, that's a video that I just really wanted to make. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd absolutely love to know who your influences are as a guitar player. So leave me a comment and let me know which guitar player influences you the most, or guitar players. There might be more than one, because there's more than one for me, but Angus is the main one. So maybe I'll make another video in future talking about another one of my influences and why I like them. So yeah, leave me a comment, let me know yours. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a like, comment, that would be another cool thing to do. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and hopefully I'll see you next time.